All right. Sorry about that delay, guys. Had to put the kiddos down. It was going to take a little bit longer than expected, but I wanted to get the show kind of on the road. So it was ready when I was done. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God. I am a humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. Not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. Just here to talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events. Give you my perspective on them. One that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. It'd help if I take this queso. I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 42 years non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination, just in the Word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. Sometimes I get it right. Other times I get it wrong. But no matter what, if you are tuning into this show, if you are um, listening to the words I'm saying, you can count on getting the honest takes, my honest takes, on whatever it is we're discussing. So if you are somebody who is new to Christianity, somebody who is right there at the cusp of believing, you want to take that next step, you're hesitant, apprehensive, anxious, doubtful, right? It's a big step. It's a lot of trust. It's a lot of faith that you got to put into it. And it's understandable. Not everybody can jump head first into it. You're worried that you might be wrong. You're worried about what others might think of you. You're worried about how much it's going to change your life. Well, look, it is going to change your life for the better. For the better. This is the single greatest decision you can make because it sets you up for success. And who knows, depending on if you're able to bring other people to Christ, you're setting other people up for success. But let's start one person at a time. If you need motivation, if you need encouragement, you can get it from me at least, or whatever it's worth. Random dude on the internet. I'm rooting for you. I don't know you. But if you're earnestly, diligently, obediently seeking to follow Christ, you're on the right track. Keep going. It's the right decision. And I'm praying for you. And the people in the chat are praying for you. All of Christianity is praying for you. The heavenly host is praying for you. Hoping, praying for you, rooting for you, whatever. I don't know what they're doing up there. Holy things. I know that, but I don't know if it constitutes prayer or if it's called prayer up there or whatever. But I know they're rooting for you. You're a victory. Your soul being saved is a victory. And we're going to rack up those W's. So hopefully that's what you need. Hopefully with all those people rooting for you, you understand that you're not alone. And as imperfect as you are, so is everybody else. We want to bring you in, help you get better, help you understand what's expected of you. And hopefully, maybe you'll stick around here. Look, I'm not the place to stay to be your teacher or guide in becoming a Christian. I'm here to talk about it. I mean, like I said, I'm here to encourage you. And maybe you can pick up some pointers from me. But I'm not the professional. I'm not the expert. But whatever I can do, whatever is within my ability, I want to be able to help you. If you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. You'll find we run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. It's all about small group. We are a small group. You can tell that by how many people are currently tuning in. Or if you go through and see how many people watch these videos. It's usually no more than 3 dozen. And in the chat, there's usually not more than 10. But that doesn't matter. We're glad that you're here no matter what the number is. And us being small is an advantage because it gives you more opportunity to speak up. I want you to speak your mind. I'm not the only person here allowed to talk. I'm just host. I just run my mouth. I just put scripture up. You're allowed to participate as well. So get in that chat, especially as small as we are. I promise you, if you leave a comment in there, I'll read it and react to it. So tell me what you think, what you agree with or disagree with. Where do you think I'm right and where do you think I'm wrong? What unique insight, perspective, or experience do you have that maybe we haven't considered yet? Maybe you want to just add on to something somebody else said. Share your opinion. Ask questions. I'm not promising to have the answers. Very good chance that I don't. But we can talk about your question regardless. And maybe somebody in the chat will know what direction to point you in. And with that said, Alex Moore is first in the chat and came and got probably more music than he thought he was going to get at the beginning. Thad said, looking for a few good audiobooks to listen to while I sleep. Forget conspiracy theory books because I don't want to be black-pilled like The Spy and the Traitor. Nonfiction about the best spy the West had during the Cold War. Veritech said, out of one and into another, just got out of Kevin Thompson's stream. I knew a guy named Kevin Thompson. Or I should say know a guy. I haven't seen him in a while. Veritech said, there's this guy that talks to Chat GPT and has it vocalizing. I listened to one of his arguments about ethics, and it literally put me to sleep. Hopefully you don't get that here. Veritech said, asking for a prayer. My wife and you, hold on. Asking for a prayer. My wife and I are hoping to get the last of the junk out of our old home first week of February. Praying for weather and timing of dumpster to facilitate it. Yeah, moving is such a pain. And I'm sorry that you're still dealing with just getting out of the old home. Golly. So yeah, prayers for fair weather. I don't want it to be warm. I like it cold. Cold is good for me, but clear roads, lack of precipitation, plenty of participation. But yeah, definitely keep Veritax and family in your thoughts and tots and pairs. Now, Thad, looking for a few good audiobooks. What? All right. For I guess my first question, I'll go down the list. Have you read Tom Clancy? That's all I always start with people. Have you read Tom Clancy? And how much do you like sci-fi fantasy? How much thought do you like? How much thinking do you like to do when you read? And I guess I'm saying you're not looking for something like dumb like C-Spot Run, but somebody like me, I enjoy Dune, for example. Dune's too much work for me. I've read the entire Dune series. I enjoyed the prequels better than the original Frank Herbert series because there's too much. It's too much that he's trying to get across, and everybody was blah blah blah. No, stop. I don't want to think that hard about it. For the most part, I'm very simple. I like books where good guy wins, bad guy loses. I don't mind there being twists and turns. But I don't like any overarching confusion in the story. And I just realized that might not be in the chat right now. So maybe we'll catch up with that later. Everybody, thank you for giving me some grace with the stream yesterday. Got to get the get the baby. She's still a baby to me. She's still the wee baby. I got to pick her up, rock her, comfort her a little bit. She cried a little bit when I put her back down, but got to learn to sleep on your own, and which she did. After about 5 minutes, she was fine, and it was like, and then quiet and quiet, and then finally just quiet. So, and she's crying tonight, but now she's out cold, out like a light. So, hopefully stays that way, because we got some catching up to do, because I wanted to get through at least 5, and I only got through 2. Let's see if we can get to 10 tonight. All right, let's see how far we can get. All right. So, left off, land does wrong, many princes. We talked about that. Leadership, the strength of leadership, what weakness brings, what corruption breeds. It ruins the thing. The important thing, be a good, wise, or you need a good, wise, strong ruler with God in his heart, or else the alternatives, not great. Not great. If you want to maybe sum up the entire book, or the entire Bible with maybe on its simplest form, is God, all things good are God. Without him, bad. I think that's pretty simple. Obviously, it gets more descriptive and more. More you're able to extrapolate much more than that, but you get a lot of that in Proverbs, and it's a lot of reinforcing through just genuine wisdom how much God plays a role in what is defined as good, and how much acting in ways that he tells you not to, or acting in ways other than he instructs you, lead to disaster, embarrassment, ruin, folly. Helps you build up trust, because there are proverbs in here that when you read it, you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe it's stuff you've already heard. You've already been to church. I've already heard these proverbs before. Maybe you've caught them in passing, just because some of these are very famous, even outside of church, though they originated here. Or you've heard it outside of the Bible, though it originated there. Or maybe that's just stuff you've come to know already, just from experience. But now you know, yeah, God does tell us to act this way. God does say this is right. And when you act contrary to that, you end up looking dumb or foolish or evil or dishonest, because generally that's how you're acting. The truth doesn't always mean you're good. Matt Felty, what's going on? How you been, sir? Those of you guys who weren't here last night, you didn't miss but you only missed two verses before we got cut short, and a long rant of mine about disagreements in the church. And I'm not going to rehash it. I'm hoping it's dying down now. It doesn't need to be reiterated. But I thought it was a decent rant, so it's worth checking out. It takes about 25 minutes, I think. We'll see. Anyway. All right, so let's start with 3. A poor man who oppresses and exploits the lowly is like a sweeping rain which leaves no food. Three, a poor man, and we read the ESV on this, a poor man who oppresses the poor is a beating rain that leaves no food. I don't believe this, Mordred. Wait, what? Man ran here like he just found. Did you ran here just like he found the tomb empty? Let's find this out. Link, you got a link? Mordred, I think you've got Mordred. Yeah, Mordred's got you've got mod rights. You should be able to link. Maybe. How come I don't hate that feature? Okay. Thadric. Hold on. News. Can you tell me where to go? Is it on Twitter right now? Because I just looked him up. I looked up Jordan Peterson, Jesus Christ, and nothing recent is on YouTube. It's breaking news on YouTube? Hang on. Who signed me out on X? Okay. Well, I figured it would be buzzing all over YouTube if it was legit. Hang on. Oh, here we go.
Christ is the embodiment of the prophet and the laws? I think that's true. Okay. Yeah. Scott, that's complicated. It's very, very complicated, but I think it's true. Do you believe that Jesus was God? Yeah.
Here's what Protestia has to say about it, which is, all right, the longer cut of Jordan Peterson's Jesus is God clip, where he demonstrates his idea of God and Jesus, who he believes to be characterized by myth, is super messed up, showing it's more about an idea and esoteric concept than anything. Protestia is very skeptical about a lot of things, by the way. But it's a start. And one of the things, and I think, I'm trying to think if it was Protestia or EDW or maybe Honest Youth Pastor. It was in reference to Kat Von D and Russell Brand converting, which has happened within the last year. That it is a bumpy road. It is an imperfect road, right? Or if it's a road that's has imperfections in thought processes while you try to coalesce the idea that you are believing in Jesus as the divine, as part of the Trinity. So, maybe I should pull it up real quick. Okay. YouTube. That's YouTube TV. Take on it. www.youtube. Maybe we'll get through verse 5 today. I got to get the right clip. Ah, there it is. Here's the short. All right, everybody see it? We'll make it bigger. That's not bigger. All right, let's do it.
Because I want to be clear. Is what is it what is the God you believe in? I think that the claim that Christ is the embodiment of the prophet and the laws, I think that's true. Okay. Yeah. So that's complicated. It's very, very complicated, but I think it's true. So you believe that Jesus was God? God. Yeah.
Okay. So, let me bring back my old screen. That's a good first step. He's couching it as, he seems to be carefully couching it as still kind of Christ as a symbol. He's still couching it as that. But I think this is the next step. I think this is worth celebrating, as we would celebrate anyway. Yes. All right, Mordred, great. Because this is the big, I think this has always been the big struggle with Jordan Peterson. His intellect is at battle with his spirit. He's a big thinker, right? Whether you like him or not, whether you think he's smart or not, we're not arguing that. He shouldn't matter to you. Anyway, if he is, this is his struggle to try to figure out if he believes in God. Does he have faith or not? What do you mean, what? Veritex. There is more, and it does seem like he doesn't have it down yet from what I take from it. Even from that short clip. He's not all the way there yet. But that's a big step. All right, that's a good sign. We want to keep that, we want him to keep that momentum up. Because him achieving salvation, like I said at the beginning, is another victory. It's not a greater victory than anyone else, because he's not more important than anybody else. But that doesn't mean he's not important. Admission comes first. Look, people get there in different ways. If this is how he gets there, then great. And like I said, it's somebody else described it well. And if I find it, I'll share it with you guys. It's a great kind of breakdown, but it's not a perfect path for somebody to go from not being a believer to a believer who is very smart and intelligent, who can speak that way about what their faith means, because there's a lot to learn, right? Hearing the gospel is simple. But as especially the higher church Protestants, Orthodox, and Roman Catholics will tell you that salvation is there's steps to it. And yeah, Mordred, I think that's intellectual pride is, yeah. He's just got to get past it, and it sounds like he's getting there. Could he fall away? Yeah. But let's not just write this off yet when we've got some momentum, because that's good. That's good. People might see that. People might see him make that determination, and people might be more interested. People might follow that. In Russell Brand's case, there was a big to-do about something he said earlier this week. When you read, I think Honest Youth Pastor did a great job kind of dissecting the broader context of what he was talking about, that it wasn't as bad as what he thought. That was a difference between Protestia really coming down hard on Brand, and Honest Youth Pastor kind of saying, hey, there's more to this statement than just what was clipped. There's a build-up to it. There's context to it where he's speaking. And while he's not perfect on it, it's nowhere near as bad as it sounds if you just take that clip on its own. Again, we should be rooting for these people. That doesn't mean excusing them when they do behave bad. It's like we shouldn't excuse anybody. We shouldn't excuse ourselves. But we don't want to cut people off at the knees when maybe we don't have all the facts. But hey, good. It's good news. It's worth sharing, worth talking about. Welcome, Mordred. Also. Let's go back. Protestia, let's go back further than that. Sounds like a reaction video. Is more than that. Well, that one was kind of a reaction video. Protestia had very good analysis of the Trinity Bible. Steve Lawson elders using strange ecclesiology. Yeah, I've actually got their Trinity Bible Church not doing Matthew 18 on Steve Lawson, some updates. Never read through it yet. I've had it up here. Outs them as being a speaker-driven church. I don't like that. Especially for us as non-denominationals or more independent Protestant churches, it's too much of a chance of one guy being in charge of everybody, and kind of there's less checks and balances. At least, when you've got a bishop in like the Roman Catholic Church, if you got a bishop or a priest in charge running a church or whatever, there's accountability in the hierarchy. Now you get up to Pope, you're kind of at the top of the food chain. But and I don't know enough about their laws and everything to say, what is a check, what checks and balances they have on that, if any. But hey. But yeah, Protestia does really good work. You got to understand that they go very hard on their analysis I'll say it's opinion, but it's also it's opinion based in their biblical understanding of things, and they don't pull punches. They're honest in what they communicate. Do you share that? Do you agree with them? You read it and determine it. But I'm glad that they're out there. And sometimes they'll cover things that nobody else is, and they're looking out for things. Veritex, I need to watch the entire thing. Yeah. We already talked about that. Man, Johnny Hunt lawsuit against Southern Baptist Church, $100 million. Wait, it was $100 million salary was $610,000 a year. What? Or was it $1 million salary? I don't even know who Johnny Hunt is. Veritex say a lot of people miss faith and salvation by the 6 inches between the head and the heart. Yeah, they do. Protesting, not my cup of tea. Too much. He's much too critical to the point of sounding like a jerk. Yeah, he's like I said, he's hard in the paint, right? And he might be for you, he might not be. But again, you'll at least be made aware of things that are going on. Also pray for you. It hasn't been easy fighting the relapse into your addiction. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's a scary thing, right? Not just for you, but the people around you. They're always worried for you. And they're not worried because they think you're a bad person. And you probably understand this already. But if you haven't heard anybody ever tell you, they're not worried, but they worry because they care about you. And they don't want to see you slip because they know how easy it is. Not that you're weak, but they worry about moments of weakness, which we all seem to have. So here's strength. That's like it is when you're getting those urges to relapse, pray and try to distract yourself. So don't put this show on because you might get so bored with it. All right. Let's get through this. All right, a poor man let's read this again. A poor man who oppresses and exploits the lowly is like a sweeping rain which leaves no food. That's the Amplified. The ESV, anytime ordered. The ESV is a poor man who oppresses the poor is a beating rain that leaves no food. See, this is what I was talking about either last night or the night before when I'm like, man, some of these proverbs are hard to pull apart. I was never very good at when I was in English class, whenever we would study poetry and try to dissect poetry or understand poetry, always to me, difficult. I'm so literal. And while I can come up with imagery in my head and describe things with flowery language, it is much more difficult for me to understand somebody else's flowery language when they are. Because I'm so doubtful I actually know what they're talking about. A poor man oppresses the low, exploits the lowly. Okay. So let's take this one piece at a time. Poor man oppresses and exploits the lowly. Poor in spirit, maybe somebody who is maybe in the same place as these other people. You're all living on the wrong side of the tracks in a bad neighborhood, and this person treats everybody like crap. Well, we're getting there, Matt. We're getting there. Don't talk over my head, Matt. It's easy to do in these things, all right? Get me Thinking on the wrong place. Guide in my focus, man. Poor man oppresses and exploits the lowly. Right? Man without much, treating other people without much in a bad way. We already know that that's not how you treat people. So why is it comparing it to you? A sweeping rain which leaves no food. All right, so now we get to I'm 6'2", Mordred. Talking crops. Low yielding soil gets washed out too. Yeah, low yielding soil. Soil that doesn't have much grip. How you treat people. This is what I get out of it. How dare you, Mordred? How you treat people should be uplifting, should grow some sort of, camaraderie. Maybe not friendship. I'm not saying you have to get along with everybody, but there should be good things that come in the wake of your interactions with others, even if you have little and the people around you have little. Like rain. What do we do? So me living in agricultural land over here, out in farmland. Rain brings life. Hanover County, where I live, we're famous for our tomatoes. Tomatoes love rain. Soak it up. Same thing with corn, which we grow a lot of corn over here. Corn loves rain. Too much. Not talk about too much. But a healthy amount of rainfall is very important for us to yield good crops. It brings life. We were talking about Dune earlier. So the big thing in Dune, water is life. Water brings nourishment. Water does a lot of good things for crops. Helping them grow, helping them yield good produce, food. If you don't treat people well, and you use the excuse that I'm in a bad place, so it's okay for me to act like a jerk to everybody, your interactions with people don't grow anything productive. In fact, you can be destructive. You can erode, wash things away, sow strife, divisiveness, etc. You don't need to be poor in spirit. You've been given a spirit. Make it as great as you can. It's not always easy. You could be like me. It's easy to be nice to nice people. You get somebody who's frustrating. I kind of feed off other people's attitudes. Good-natured person in a good mood, I'm going to reciprocate that right back to them, and it's just going to be tenfold. A frustrating person with a poor attitude is the fastest way to make me have a bad attitude as well. So I'm lowly, according to Mordred, because he thinks I'm short. I'm lowly. If you oppress me, if you treat me like crap, I'm going to be irritable. I'm going to argue with you. We're going to have words. Maybe some fisticuffs. Or as Keith Kapowski would say, sola fistus. Catching these hands. And what's the aftermath of that? Anything productive? No. Or, what's going on, Emmanuel? Or we have a interaction. Maybe you're not having a great day. Sometimes you got to know when, hey man, I just want to be alone. Hey, I'm not into conversation right now. I'm struggling. Right, giving people a heads up that you need your space. That you're just trying to blow off steam. A little aggravated. That helps. Or like, hey man, it's been a tough day, but it's good to see you. What do I take away from that? Man, the guy cares about me, even though he's having a bad day. I should emulate that. Maybe there's something I can do to help him out. Oh, he wants space? Leave him alone. He's communicating. He's trying to treat me with respect, treat me like a man. All right. Or, hey, there's something I can do. Maybe talk about the problems over a meal. What do you say? Does that leave food? It does. It took him out for a meal. Took him out for a meal. Be productive, right? And being down and out on your luck, being at rock bottom, whatever, it's not an excuse. So, all right, 4. Those who set aside the law of God and man praise the wicked. But those who keep the law of God and man struggle with them. Struggle with the wicked? Oh no. Mordred, how many kids you got for that level dad joke? That was food for thought. Banger dad comment. That's so good a pastor might have used that in his sermon. Those who set aside the law of God and man praise the wicked. But those who keep the law of God and man struggle with them. It's hard to read this and not immediately think of the culture war that's going on with sexuality in Western society specifically. There's a couple of women who have slept with a ridiculous number of men over a 24-hour period. It's been around Twitter, some of the social media sites, been news about it. Woman slept with 1,000 men in a day. Woman slept with 100 men in a day. Kino Casino was showing the interview with one of the women. Yeah. Somebody else beat her to it, apparently, according to what I was listening to from last night's broadcast. So they were interviewing the 1,000 men lady. They were interviewing her mom and said, it's just a job. And then later said, I'm proud of her. That is a, if we want to use an extreme example of someone who is setting aside the law of God and man to will praise the wicked. That is the mother of this lady willingly doing an interview, openly proclaiming that she supports, and not only supports what her daughter did, but saying she's proud of what her daughter did, which would mean she's happy about that. And nobody really talked. Nobody. The big headline is the woman. The guys, they knew what they were there for. It's all disgusting. They're all there. Veritax over here, autistically going, trying to figure out the math behind it. Stop. Nobody tried to tell her, or nobody in the interview, nobody apparently showed up. Of course, I don't think they would have shown it, but or maybe they would have for dramatic purposes, but nobody tried to stop this in the interview or throughout whoever was filming the parts of this or whatever. Nobody tried to stop this. There's people out there who will openly say that this is okay. Again, look at that Instagram comment I discussed last week, I think, or earlier this week, with the guy saying, I'm a Christian who's sex positive and was talking about how porn's okay as long as it's safe. Safe. The hell out of here. This is destructive to every single person involved with it. Was it live? Was the interview with the mom live or taped? She might not have known it at all or could have been edited out. I think PPP said it was before the 1,000, but it was about her being a porn actress, porn participant, or whatever the hell they call themselves. But I mean, she was talking about it in a story. So if they edited it, one, they did a very good job making it sound seamless, and two, they're evil for making her mom sound like she supported, but sound like she was okay with it. Yeah, we know the psychological impact of pornography, and that was 100% of the responses back to that guy. It's like, it's not safe. It's not safe for the viewer. It's not safe for the person partaking in it. But that's what we see. If you want an example, praising the wicked. Those are people acting wickedly with wickedness in their hearts. Because this takes a very conscious decision to do this. She doesn't look coerced into this. The men show up of their own accord. Everything about this is grimy and wicked. But this is okay. Where's my libertarianism coming out to endorse this? Oh, Mordred, you're going to make a fan of Emmanuel bringing up Slanesh. This is Slanesh level. It's supposed to be praised, according to some. They don't care if us prudes think it's wrong. They don't care that us prudes will remind them that God is not cool with this. God thinks it's evil. It is a sin. Hands down. Sex should be between you and your spouse. No one else participates. No one else is watching. No one else is filming. No one else is there with you. And the fallout from this type of behavior can be measured in psychological damage, STDs, mental issues. Just because you wear a necklace with a cross when you're filming doesn't make it okay. You can be forgiven of this. Even as disgusting as that is. There's forgiveness for it. But are you remorseful? Do you care? Do you even think that you need to be held accountable for this? Do you think it makes you less of a person? Yeah, if you want to know why Slanesh is the worst, the Emperor's children are the worst in 40K. Ugh. Fulgrim was a hard book. Not a hard book. Hard book to read. Did I read all the comments coming over here? Haven't caught up with Warski. Personally, don't like PPP. That's just you. I probably shouldn't watch the show. Like I said, it's gossip and it's not uplifting in with the topics they discuss. It's a lot of clowning people. I should do better. How great would it be if a nominee before the Senate quotes verse 5? They wouldn't care. They don't know. And a lot of them would be like, oh, yeah, I'm a Catholic. Let's have more abortions. Not a slam against Catholics. It's a slam. Well, kind of a slam against them not holding their accountable, but there's a lot of them in the House and Senate. Alias, what's going on? Veritech said, what's your line? Tell me why you wear your cross of gold. State of mind, or does it find a way into your soul? Michael W. Smith, Cross of Gold. Is that a song? Sounds like it. Rhymes. Mordred said, Destiny is under the impression that bestiality and simulated, is okay. So, no, these people, they need Jesus and repentance. Oh, yeah, and there we go. The descent, once you cross those lines, you can cross any of the other lines too. It's disgusting. And if you think that people won't do it, talk to somebody who's been to the Middle East and seen it. True Slanesh is evil. Just look at the Noise Marines. Oh, we talked about that. Try to be safe, but I can't even. Path is long and hard. I see what you did there, Emmanuel. Terrible. Terrible. Unfortunately, we don't have any karma stars for these women. These women, the men. Someone showed up. Oh, I'm going to pee. I mean, look, number one's just as bad as 99 from a standpoint of sin. But at the same time, for your reputation, number 87 out there. He showed up. He didn't just fall. This wasn't like some trap she laid it. It's like, I fell down. Looking at you, Biden. To me, simps are whores. Simps are whores. They'll whore their principles out. They'll whore their opinions out. They'll whore their finances out. It does. It is one of those things you know when you see it. I feel like. Yeah. Biden taking credit for another ceasefire and hostage exchange. Would it be hilarious if Trump came out and said Biden can say what he wants? We all know God gets the glory. Oh, the ring. Good for Trump. Hopefully heartfelt and not done for political points. You know me, I'm going to be the cynic because he's a politician. But I'm rooting for him and his salvation, just like I'm rooting for Brand and Kat Von D and Jordan Peterson and any of you guys out here. Maybe you guys more, because y'all don't have any. Y'all probably not famous and having a bunch of other people openly rooting for you and know who you are. I care. Simps aren't real dudes. Educate them. As Family Guy Spider-Man says, everybody gets one, but once they fall down that path, then it's done for them. It's a fallen world we live in. I mean, that's the bottom line of it. And here's where we should be standing. Those who keep the law of God and man. And this isn't to look down on other people, but we honestly want God's will to be done, God's rules to be followed. Gosh, that was beautiful. Wes Huff for the win. Keep the law of God and of man. Struggle with the wicked. Says the others, those who ignore the law praise the wicked. Those who keep the law struggle with them. Because what are we doing? What are we doing? We're fighting against this. And we're fighting against a media that wants to make us out to be judgmental, to be prudish, to be holier than thou and sanctimonious, when really it's out of concern. And I thought BPP did a pretty good job kind of illustrating this. That girl with 1,000 dudes, and they were talking about her and her mom. This was someone who that woman gave birth to, spent time with her as she did all of the first things in her life, from being an infant and taking her first breath into this world, to crawling, to walking, to talking, first birthday, first everything, all the things, my fellow parents out there, all the things that you know that you've experienced with your kid or kids, and you see them and you imagine them younger than they are. And, mine are still very young, or pretty young. But you always see them back there, right? There was a time of relative innocence. There was a time where she didn't know this life. You want to turn back those pages and reset things. But you can't. What's done is done. She's already done it. So if she came up, but that doesn't mean that the book is closed on her. That doesn't mean you can't go up to her and say, hey, look, Jesus still wants you to turn from your sin. It's not too late for you. You can repent. You can accept him as your Lord and Savior. You can pursue a Christ-like life. You can recover from this. Let's go to church. Let's get past this. There's going to be worldly consequences for your actions and your decisions. Again, you can't change that. And I'm not just talking to her. I'm talking to you, all of you guys. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to my kids when they mess up. You can't undo it. Can't undo your addiction. You can't undo your cynicism. You can't undo the times where you walked away from your obligations as a child of God. But the reason that cross is a symbol for all of Christianity is that he made salvation possible for all of us. None of us were worthy to enter heaven until that. And maybe worthy's the wrong word. None of us met the standard. We all have things we can't undo. But we don't quit. We don't give up. We understand. We try to understand what we did wrong. Pick ourselves up. Lean on those who would correct us, those who will support us, those who will lead us. And God. We can't do it alone. Again, the cross. There's all the evidence you need. You couldn't do it alone. Screwing up is not an excuse to keep screwing up. Might be a reason, ain't an excuse. I don't want any of you guys to feel hopeless. Maybe she feels that way. Maybe she's completely maybe she's completely a shell of herself in mind and spirit. Who knows? Maybe she doesn't want anything to do with God. She's responsible for her own faith. You can try to help. Just remember, you're responsible for yours too. All right. A little heavy. A little on the heavy side. All right. Evil men. Let's do 5 and we'll close out. Evil men do not understand justice, but they who long for and seek the Lord understand it fully. Well, now, wouldn't that, like, Veritex, wouldn't that be completely ignored by all the people we said it at? Said it for to in the Senate. Veritex said it earlier. That's what I'm going to say. Billy Carson had a pretty weak starting position. West did good, but let's not oversell it. No. First, yeah, West did good. Okay. But it was the execution of Wes's position and how he went about it. Billy Carson was a house of cards. But if you didn't have much knowledge in ancient texts or church history and some of the historian side of things, it might be easy to buy it the way he presented it. Oh, did you know it says this? Did you know it says this? Huff going behind himself and saying, "Oh, you mean this book right here, this manuscript right here?" And he just pulls it out. He goes, "Oh, it doesn't say any of that." And just completely broke him down. And the fact that he was able to get him in public and do it publicly, and in such a way that it was clipped and just So to the point that Carson is trying to sue him is beautiful. Is beautiful. Mordred said, keep the heart of the law in your spirit, and it shall be on your mind. Your actions will reflect it. And Manuel said, all I see is fatherless behavior. Well, yes, but also there are people out there, and we've got that in the Bible. David's kids acted this way, and so did Solomon's kids. And they were present, kind of. I mean, there's a lot of women there. Maybe a better example would be Samuel's kids, and the whole reason that Israel asked for a king, or one of the reasons Israel asked for a king. Most people think justice is subjective. Justice is what God decides that it is. All right, Apple Butter's got a kind of an off-topic question, but one that comes up often. Thoughts on cannabis in Christianity? I personally don't like weed. I think marijuana smells awful. My take on it as far as it being legalized is, I mean, whatever. I mean, I think I'd rather it still be illegal, but I certainly don't think it should be publicly consumed. Gosh, I hate going to sporting events now. It is everywhere. I don't smell it. The thing about, and if you want to equate it to alcohol, if a lot of people are drinking, you got to deal with them being under the influence, just like I would have to deal with somebody under the influence of pot. But I don't have to smell it all the way, everywhere. I mean, I've been to NASCAR events, and dude, 75% or better is inebriated at those things. And the smell of beer is nowhere even close to as pungent as the smell of weed. Like a handful of people doing weed, leaving a baseball game. It's awful. And this is me speaking speaking of it. As far as the well, and here we go. That's, can you use it without sin if you're using it as an herb to help heal? I think that there is a strong case for that. And this is why I generally kind of say, I kind of stay silent on it, because cocaine, you can medicinally use cocaine. We're not Jehovah's Witnesses here. Morphine, narcotics that killed my cousin, are used as medicine. And I think it is the abuse of it and the overindulgence in it, whereas we can use that as like alcohol. I'm not anti-alcohol, but I do think that drunkenness is sinful. When you can't control your own actions because you were inebriated, drunk, high, whatever, you have put yourself in a position where you are way more susceptible to sin. And I think my take on that, and somebody might have a better biblical case for this, my take on that is that anything that puts you at risk of sinfulness, that isn't like in the pursuit of doing something righteous, is likely sinful. But this is my perspective as a layperson. As a layperson, I'm not a priest or anything. So my opinion on it may not be worth a hill of beans, but that's where I land on it. So just get hungry. I'm already hungry enough. um, Billy has been mocking God for too long. Yeah. Yeah. Huff is good at languages, not so much history. He's no Michael Heiser. Hey, he's good enough. He's good enough. Got apple butters. That's a good question, Apple. I thank you for asking it. I mean, I know that's off topic, but if it's on your mind, it's off your mind. It's on your mind. So thanks for by. It sounds like you're checking out. We'll probably be not falling behind you, but thanks for stopping by and participating with us. CBD for pain, maybe, but to get high, no. Yeah, like I said, I'm not doctor enough. I'm not doctor enough to try to be intelligent on that. It's just one of those things where it's like I gotta just kind of feel my way through it and try to educate my kids on it and try to lead my family through this very difficult thing. I've never smoked pot. I was very much a goody two shoes about even alcohol. I didn't drink. My dad had given me like the very last sips of his Coronas when I was a kid. Just because his dad was like, look, this is just to get your curiosity out of the way. He always told me, he goes, if you want to do any of this, do it at home. If you want to do any of this, do it at home. So I can, watch out for you. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be impressed with me or proud of me for my decisions, but he'd rather it be controlled. Like I'll learn, how to use a gun under his supervision. He wanted kind of to be the guy to guide, as a dad would be the one to kind of guide his son through those things. And I had curiosity about it, but at the same time, at some point, I think it was in the Army. When I was in the Army, it got to the point where it was like, hey, we're all going out drinking. I'm like, I'm 18, I'm 19 at the time. I'm like, I'll just wait until I'm 21. And so, my friends all knew about that. So when the time came that I turned 21, it was a big deal. Like, everybody took me out. It was just like, this is Stuart's 21st birthday. We're all going to get him drunk, right? And this is not an example of a time of great Christian decisions, right? I'm going out there to get drunk and partying. But I guess on the side that kind of tempered it is everybody's like, hey, no, we're going to watch out for you. We're not going to let anything bad happen to you or anything. And they did. They did. So obviously I'm not driving. So, I'd already checked out a hotel for the night. So, they got me there. And the next morning I was like, hey, I'm 21. So I waited until I was 21 to drink. I've never smoked a cigarette. I smoke cigars occasionally, not often, but I do enjoy them. But marijuana, drugs. Part of the other thing is I have a side of my family that suffers from addictions. And so that also bothers me. I've got alcoholics in my family. I've got medicine abusers, prescription drug abusers. I've got a cousin who died of a heroin overdose after he had been clean for 2 years. And these are, he's like 10 years younger than me. Right. But that we didn't know about that stuff, but that, the idea of addiction and what it's done to members of my family was always on my mind. And so I was always a little bit more sensitive to that. But I still, I drink around my friends, around my family. I'll do it sometimes socially. But yeah, I don't like beer all that much. More of a cocktail fan, like Moscow Mule, Long Island iced tea, whiskey sours, old fashioned, those kind of things. And though I get a lot of grief about it, pina coladas and mojitos. They're not the most masculine of drinks, but but yeah. Okay. So evil men do not understand justice. but they who long for and seek the Lord understand it fully. Yeah. Understand justice. I'd be interested. Let's see what the the only difference between that and the ESV really is the second part. They're almost exactly the same. Amplified says, "They who long for and seek the Lord understand it fully," but those, and ESV says, "But those who seek the Lord and understand it completely." I just wonder what it means by understand, because I think people do consciously make choices that they know that are wrong. Not always, but I mean, look, there are evil people out there that do evil things, and they do it intentionally. Do they try to convince themselves that it's the right thing, or do they just not care? Feel like it's a mixed bag. Where does that come into, like, the idea of understanding? I don't know. And how much does that matter? That might be for you to decide. Well, Blaine, you're catching us towards the end. Good to see you, though, buddy. Not that we haven't been talking already today. But if you do long for justice and seek justice, you understand, or at least have some sort of understanding of what it means. But they says understand it fully, so I shouldn't argue with that. Understand it fully. Thanks, Blaine. They who long for and seek the Lord understand it fully. That kind of makes me feel a little self-conscious, because I do want to be good. I do desire to do the right thing. I do desire for the right thing to be judged. I get upset when I feel like injustice is prevailing. One of the things I'm overjoyed at is the knowledge that God is ultimately dealing out justice the way it should be dealt out with, whether I'm right or wrong about what I perceive. But stuff like understand it fully always makes me self-conscious, because I don't know if I understand it fully. Means I need to do better. Probably a good sign. Probably a good sign. All right, y'all. That's gonna be our hour and 30 to get through three verses. But we had a couple of welcome distractions. That's why I love the chat. Bring this stuff up. Look, Bible's not going anywhere. Eventually we're going to get through it. Lord willing that I live long enough to get through this. Or that the channel lives long enough, or whatever. But Lord willing, we'll get through it. Let's see. What we talk about? We talked about Jordan Peterson possibly converting, possibly seeing the light, making that approach, maybe poking around the corner. Like maybe I believe in Jesus. Maybe I accept him. I think we've already got him believing in God. That's a great foundation to build. Now we got to get him into that Trinity. And then Apple Butter's question about the ganja. There we go. All right. So, Emmanuel, Blaine, Apple butter. Thank you for the sub. I hope that you come back because I thought that you're I like the back and forth where you gave your opinion, whether it agreed with mine or not, but you did. And that you stuck around to keep sometimes we get folks who pop in and ask a question and never hear them respond back. So, but thank you. Thad the man. You were asking about Glancy, or are you asking about books? I'll try to keep that in mind. Mordred, always good to see you. Veritex. Alias. I think that might round out the crew. Oh, because I know Alex is here. Matt Felty. Got a little quiet on the second half. Yeah, Alex first and last mentioned. Y'all, the chat is awesome. This is when I miss you guys. And I think it's great, even when it's just like one or two of y'all in here. I hate being in here myself, but I'm gonna do it, right? It's getting done. These streams are happening, whether you're here or not. But I do get lonely. And I do appreciate even with one or two, but man, it's a bunch of y'all, and we're really just flowing. These episodes are so much better. It's definitely not me that makes the show. So love you guys as always. And I just always want to tell you every night how much I appreciate you guys and gals when Jenny's here, you guys and gals. Yeah. Good seeing you guys. To everybody who is just listening, I mean, you should take a cue from Apple. I am interested in hearing from you guys, but I understand you might not want to, you might not be able to. But I'm glad, nonetheless, that you are listening to you were here and listened, and you found a place that you at least enjoy to come back to and get more out of. Thank you. To everybody who's catching this on replay, thank you very much. Sorry I missed you. Hope to catch you live sometime soon. Everybody have a good night and God bless.